All the stupid things I say and do and never really stop when I should never have begun. I really ought to drop it, but it's faster when you don't even have time to stop and think about the things that you were saying, cause they never really matter. But it's empty spaces in the air. Fill it up, fill it up, fill it up. Oh no, all the million little empty spaces in the air. Fill it up, fill it up, fill it up. Oh no. Oh no, but
Someone explained why veganism is not cruelty-free, and it might make you think twice before going vegan. Apparently. Hello and welcome back to Keep It Vegan. As always, I'm Ben, and this is Keep It Vegan, and you're watching Keep It Vegan, and you're watching Ben, and I'm Keep It Vegan. Hello. So this one popped up on Facebook. It's an article from very recently, past couple of weeks, and it's a bit of a weird one. Now, I immediately tried to find out a bit more about the article, and as you'll see here, it's an article that has appeared multiple times. There's a date on this one, but there isn't. It's appeared multiple times, sometimes worded very slightly differently, but written pretty much the same article with the same assets used on different websites with different authors. And I'm not going to lie to you, I have no idea what the fuck's going on. I don't know if it's just a bunch of different places copying the same article over and over again. I'll be interested to find out. I don't know if it's just been someone wrote it and it's just been pushed onto other websites because they're all owned by the same person. I don't know. What we're going to do is we're going to have a look through the article on the website that is the least egregiously built, because there have been some fucking problems going through these, and adverts playing and text disappearing where boundaries. I'm not going to go into it. We're going to go with provider.com/vegan-cruelty-free/. So, someone explained why veganism is not cruelty-free, and it might make you think twice about before going vegan. And we've got this poster here from AmericanVegan.org. Would you eat one of your own, then why eat another animal? Last year, over 70% of animals used for food were killed violently. Go vegan. That's from the American Vegan Society. And this image, or some semblance of it, appears in pretty much every one of these repeated reposts, which is odd. It's 2018, and being a vegan seems to be more and more common. People have different reasons for why they become vegan. Some do it for dietary purposes. Some do it because they want to lose some pounds. Others do it because, well, it's the cool thing to do. There's a lot. It's not just there's three reasons to go vegan. There's a lot of reasons to do it, but those individually, like saying for dietary purposes, there's a lot of different things. There's a lot of people with medical conditions who, like type 2 diabetes, who want to get rid of that condition, and so they eat the correct diet and it goes away. Because, say it with me again, humans are natural carbohydrate eating herbivores. We are not supposed to be eating meat or dairy. There's a video on the channel, go watch it, because I'm not going to repeat it here. You'll notice there's no ethical argument here. Some do it for diet, some do it because they want to lose some pounds, which is, it's diet. Some do it for diet, some do it as diet, and some do it for fashion. I can't stand vegans being referred to as a fashion. It is a fashion. Like, some people do it for fashionable reasons, but there's no mention of the environment here. There's no mention of the horrific suffering the animals go through here, but whatever. Meat eaters have their reasons for eating meat. Drug addiction. If it's a foodstuff that is proven to be medically incredibly bad for you with no real benefits, it's proven to be destroying the environment, and it's also causing immense suffering to other creatures, the only reason you're doing it is for taste. You're doing it out of ignorance or taste. In both cases, I'd say that amounts more to a drug addiction than anything else. I'm just going to move my cable. It's going to bang. I'm going to move my cable because I've kind of wrapped it around my leg. I'm going to die or something. Vegans have their reasons for not eating meat. The two tend to butt heads, as any two opposite sides of an argument tend to do, but recently the debate has been around something else when it comes to being vegan. The topic of discussion is the idea of cruelty-free. The two tend to butt heads, as opposite sides of an argument tend to do. Again, this isn't really opposite sides of the argument. It's not a I think this way argument. It's not a debate. It's some people not living according to the evidence. It's people who haven't been exposed to it. It's me 2.5, 3 years ago, however long it's been. There's not, I think eating meat is right, I think eating meat is wrong. It's not an equal balance thing. It's a regressive group and a progressive group. I know that's a fundamentally volatile argument to make, but I'm all out of shits to give. What exactly is the argument? Well, meat eaters are arguing that being vegan doesn't necessarily mean cruelty-free. These people are arguing that just because certified products are considered cruelty-free by organisations like Cruelty Free International, they aren't entirely innocent. They note you can see this by looking at the food industry as a whole. Immediately, that's a red flag for me. This phrase here, well, meat eaters are arguing that being vegan doesn't necessarily mean... That's making meat eaters as a whole unit. You can say vegans argue against meat eating because that's an intrinsic element of being a vegan. It's the opposition to that exploitation. You can't say that vegans love Avengers Infinity War because that's a generalization. Again, meat eaters are arguing it's saying that every meat eater is arguing for or against a certain thing. It makes it sound a lot more organized than it is. I'll show you exactly what this is, the nature of this article in a second. An article written in the New York Times called Good Vegan, Bad Vegan noted that vegans have a way of making meat eaters look pretty rough. The article brought in the Netflix documentary What the Health, saying that it brought some misstatements, such as eating an egg a day is as bad as smoking 5 cigarettes, but meat eaters have a problem with vegans passing as being cruelty-free. Okay, so this article is a collection of tweets. Someone has taken a bunch of tweets vaguely related to an article they've read, and they have constructed a narrative out of it. A they said situation. It has absolutely no merit as a piece of journalism. It's badly written and completely devoid of any real journalistic integrity. It's a bunch of vague tweets stitched together, supporting an argument that this person has read in an article. And this article, Good Vegan, Bad Vegan, notes that vegans have a way of making meat eaters look pretty rough. Do I have to show slaughterhouse footage? It's not about saying that meat eaters are evil people. It's just saying that you are knowingly or unknowingly participating in a horrific system of oppression that involves a lot of pain, a lot of torture, and is killing everyone doing it. So just fucking stop. We'll go on to that Good Vegan, Bad Vegan, because this person is kind of completely... They've extracted a very small part of it and also paraphrased it in an incorrect way, but we'll come on to that as well. Article brought in Netflix documentary What the Health, saying that it brought some misstatements, such as eating an egg a day is as bad as smoking 5 cigarettes. People always say that What the Health is bad science. It's not real. It misquotes things. It doesn't. It is a documentary that was put together with the help of a lot of long-standing nutritional experts. For example, this cigarette moment is based on a kind of collation of studies that Dr. Michael Greger did, author of How Not to Die and so on. But people love saying it's bad science, and they always come back to this egg cigarettes thing, presumably because they hear egg equals 5 cigarettes, and they go, well, there's so much more bad shit in cigarettes, so that's why it can't be right. If we look at actually what the Health says, the argument in What the Health is eating an egg per day is just as bad as smoking 5 cigarettes per day for life expectancy. Now that's actually in reference to this competing risk analysis for mortality risk factors in the Harvard Nurses Health Study, which we've spoken about on the channel before. And it actually outlines... Where is this? Down here somewhere. There we go. So, it actually outlines that eating an amount of cholesterol per day equal to eating an egg per day shortens life expectancy to a similar degree as smoking 25,000 cigarettes or 5 cigarettes per day for 15 years. So we've got the health risk, hazard risk there, and we've also got the hazard risk here. That's the balance. It's saying that if you look at the damage to life expectancy, eating this amount of cholesterol equals smoking this many cigarettes, and eating that amount of cholesterol equals an egg per day. So is What the Health incorrect? No. Is What the Health badly worded? No. Also, no. It's very fashionable to rip on What the Health, and people don't pay enough fucking attention to what is being said. So there we go. I'm trying not to swear in these videos because they're so much harder to go through and bleep out, but there we go. Okay, so meat eaters have a problem with vegans passing as being cruelty-free. Basically, they don't like this fictional group of all meat eaters in one place don't like that vegans get a free ride, that they're getting away with being cruelty-free, which is about 7 shades of horseshit. But here we go. We're going to have a look at the tweets, and most of the tweets, the text that follows is a repeat of a tweet that has appeared before. But as I say, this article is pure crap, and we're not going to spend too much time worrying about that. So we've got one here. Repeat after me. Veganism is not affordable. Veganism is not cruelty-free. Veganism is not the best choice for everyone. Okay, so repeat after me. Veganism is more affordable. Fruits and vegetables are considerably cheaper than buying kind of meat. Obviously, if you're looking at something like the bags of 99p turkey burgers that you can get in supermarkets, yeah, you could probably argue that and a big bag of chips and some Tesco value or as a smart price or whatever baked beans is a meal that is cheaper. It's not really, because if you buy the fruits and veg and then you cook a large meal, then you've obviously got a lot of portions that you can eat throughout the week. That does work out as being much cheaper. Yeah, this is an age-old fucking argument. It really irritates me. Veganism is not cruelty-free. Veganism has never been about being completely cruelty-free. It's impossible to be cruelty. Well, again, cruelty-free. Cruelty is not harm-free. Veganism is obviously not harm-free. As a combine harvester is going through and it's threshing a field full of corn, there's a good chance that there's a dormouse that's going to get mangled up in there somewhere. Like, it's impossible to avoid killing things because we live on a planet which has an ecosystem, an entire planet-wide ecosystem that lives off something dies to feed something else. Plants die to feed herbivores die to feed carnivores, but there's also a lot of incidental death as well. Veganism has never been about never killing anything ever, because that's literally impossible, because you can boil that down to, and I've heard before, people boil that down to being, well, you kill bacteria when you take antibacterial stuff, so, that's a thing. It's about, in fact, fuck it, here we go. Veganism is a way of living which seeks to exclude, as far as is possible and practicable, all forms of exploitation of and cruelty to animals for food, clothing, or any purposes. It's excluding as far as is possible and practicable. Now, that's not, I have a day where I cheat and I eat meat and eggs because that's as far as it's possible and practicable. No, it's cutting as much of that shit out of your diet as possible, and the clothes out of your wardrobe and all that stuff. Veganism is cruelty-free, because I would say the difference between cruelty and harm-free is cruelty is in some part intentional. It's senseless, and the murder that happens in slaughterhouses is senseless. That's cruel. That is cruel. It is intentionally causing pain and suffering. Veganism is cruelty-free. It's not death-free. Nothing's death-free. Veganism is not the best choice for everyone. Well, I mean, that depends. Depends what you're saying. Is it the best choice for the CEO of a dairy company? Probably not. I imagine they're getting a bit salty about it. But veganism is the best choice for everyone dietarily, because it's what you're supposed to eat. As long as you're eating, whole food, plant-based food, you're not eating a load of replacements and processed food still. That's dietarily the best choice. Financially, it's the best choice because it's cheaper. Environmentally, it's the best choice because it has the least impact on the planet. And morally, it's the best choice because you're not contributing to atrocities. So, I guess Yes, it is. Repeat that. Meat lovers have noted that things like forced labour, exploitation of workers, and hazardous and extreme working conditions, amongst other things, are pretty common issues in the food and supply chains. They added that on agriculture, that agriculture is even responsible for 70% of child labour. Again, a lot of meat lovers, it's all very vague. People are literally starving in South America because the quinoa crop is being exported mainly for white vegans who want to live cruelty-free, but don't care about brown people as much as they do animals. I'm going to try and avoid getting really angry. It's something I'm working on. It's not going particularly well. People are literally starting in South America because the quinoa crop is being exported. Okay, so if we look at the land use for growing plants like say quinoa, but looking mostly at things like soy, most of that food that's being grown is going to feed animals, which are then slaughtered to provide unhealthy food for people to eat. 45% of land use is dedicated to animal agriculture. That's breeding and growing the animals, or the food to feed the animals. And I mean, you can see the text underneath. According to ecoraz.com, sometimes it's easy to compartmentalize ethical issues and forget that abstaining from one moral wrong doesn't eradicate all others. Immediately under a quote that is inciting racial difference as a reason why veganism is bad. White vegans are eating... I mean, first off, I think if you look at the amount of people eating quinoa, the majority of people who eat quinoa are probably not vegan. It's a very common food. In South America, it was a staple. It's why certain cultures progressed to the level that they did. And mainly for white vegans who want to live cruelty-free, there's just a racial angle that doesn't need to be there. But this is the problem. When your article is based on some fucking random quotes from Reddit from people who have absolutely no qualification to be making these comments, and then you post them in an article that makes it seem like a legit news article, it's ridiculous. Don't care about brown people as much as they do animals. I know a lot of vegans who, to use this person's parlance, care about brown people. I also know a lot of white non-vegans who don't care about brown people. It's just ridiculous. Fuck's sake. Exploiting undocumented immigrants and other workers is cruelty-free. Nearly 500,000 children as young as 6 harvest 25% of US crops. Again, most of those crops will be going to feed animals. And this isn't a problem with veganism. People starving in a country that's growing food for another process. Even if this was true, even if all the crop here was being grown for white vegans, that's not the white vegans' fault. That's the system that exploits those people. This is ultimately a capitalism problem. 500,000 children young as 6 harvesting 25% of US crops. That's not because the demand is so high we've just had to start employing 6-year-olds to go and do it. It's because that's beneficial for the system. The same system that is causing animals to go through the slaughterhouses and be exploited and horribly maimed and mutilated and killed is the same one that's exploiting workers. And slaughterhouse workers also have it very badly. Generally speaking, they have the highest incidence rate of post-traumatic stress disorder. It's a horrible place to be. This isn't a veganism problem. This is a capitalism problem. It's a social structure problem. Regardless, this topic, blah, blah. Again, we're now kind of going back and talking about the post up here because maybe you couldn't get the Reddit posts lined up with where you were talking about them. I don't know. More and more articles are being written about veganism not being cruelty-free, but the vegans stand strong and aren't backing down without a fight. Plus, there are vegan articles floating around decrying the use of honey, even though the production and harvest of honey by responsible beekeepers doesn't hurt the bees at all and is not exploitative, and that misinformation hurts the honey industry, which is trying to save bees from extinction. Okay, so first off, no. The use of the continual factory farming of honeybees for harvesting honey is not saving the bees. There is a lot of selective breeding that happens, again, as with any animals, to try and get the most honey, which means that genetic problems become a rampant issue. Queen's wings are often clipped so they can't fly away and start a hive anywhere else. They are stuck in this hive because otherwise the farmers don't get the honey. The honey is taken away and it's actually replaced with a sugar solution, which is unhealthy for the bees. It doesn't have the same nutritional load that the honey does. The reason bees make honey is because it's food for when food gets low. No animal, and I can't believe I'm still saying this, no animal makes food for free. Chickens don't just shit out an egg for other animals to eat. That's ridiculous. No animal is going to expend the time and biological energy making a food source for free, for spare. It's not a byproduct. They grow it for a reason. They create honey for a reason. And us taking it when replacing it with some syrupy shit, which just makes them sick and doesn't make them healthy, that's exploitation. And I'm sick of people going, well, beekeepers are trying to save. How about we have beekeepers which farm these bees, as it were, and they don't take the honey? That would be trying to save the bees from extinction. It would be actually having these bees and looking after them and not taking the honey away from them. We have those. Those are conservation charities that work hard to make sure these bees are healthy. Tumblr user Rosadell, and that's the one from before. I'm vegan. I agree 100% cruelty free is near impossible. I just try to do the best to minimise cruelty. And we've got the same post here again, so that's amazing. It must have been a really impactful quote on the article writer. Back to the bees. Plus, 4 out of the 8 most common food allergies, soy, wheat, peanuts, and tree nuts, are common vegan substitutes. Is that a reason why veganism is cruelty full? It's cruel, but you motherfuckers, if your allergies, you can't eat food, you're gonna die. It's ridiculous. First off, okay, let's back up. Eating vegan replacements, which I don't often eat because they're not particularly healthy, they very rarely have peanut in because I'm mildly allergic to peanut. If I eat it, I know I've eaten it, and I check ingredients anyway. It's very rarely that comes up. I don't know if they're talking about wheat allergy, whether they're talking about gluten intolerance, wheat allergy, or celiac disease. Who knows? Cases of actual celiac disease are the very underdiagnosed. People don't often realise the difference between celiac and gluten intolerance is that gluten intolerance doesn't actually do damage to your gut, whereas celiac disease is very harmful. And a lot of the people who are actually avoiding gluten are doing it for no good reason. There's nothing wrong with gluten. If you have an allergy, you have an allergy. If you're intolerant, you are intolerant. But most people misdiagnose themselves. Can we just get rid of this out of the way? First off, soy is fed to most of cows and pigs. So if soy is so bad for you, you're eating it, it's just passing through a cow first. And second of all, soy is in pretty much everything. If you go and look at your crisps or your chocolate or your pasta sauces or your garlic bread, if you go and look at anything, there will nearly always be soy in it because it's such a versatile product and a complete protein. It's nonsense that soy is a serious allergy and it's in all the food that vegans eat, because it just isn't. This post is fucking garbage. It really is. But regardless, this is the problem with this article. I do these response videos where we look at the article in particular because I know these problem people's Facebook feeds and they worry about it. They don't know kind of what to do with it. So this is a bullshit article that takes some random spods on Reddit or some fucking blogging site and provides them as though it's actual legitimate news, and then that's appeared on a lot of different sites, so don't worry about it. Now, if we go to that Times article, Good Vegan, Bad Vegan, that was misquoted, this person talks about veganism. They mentioned what the health, and their whole argument is people should be vegan for a day or so. It's a really bad article. The argument predominantly starts with people shouldn't push veganism if they don't understand, if they're kind of misquoting the science. And then it goes into this bit talking about how science has shown that eating more healthy vegan food is better for you. Like eating plant-based food is better for you, as long as it's healthy, which, I mean, obviously. And then it kind of rounds out saying that the more plant foods and fewer animal foods you eat, the lower your carbon footprint, the more you'll be fine. But you just have to pick the right plants. There's a bit that really bothers me, which is here somewhere. As always, it's in regards to protein. I don't know where it's gone. I ultimately don't care. Basically, the argument is that the problem is with vegan food is that there's not much protein in it, so you have to supplement your diet with beans and pulses, which is the vegan food. That's like saying you have to supplement. If you're having a sandwich, you can't have a proper sandwich. You have to supplement it with bread. That's part of the food. Beans and pulses are part of the food. That's a natural part of food, and the protein you get from plants is complete if you've got a good variety, and eating vegan is super healthy. So yeah, I don't really have much to say about this article. It's more this one that popped up, and I just wanted to get my response on video and up on the channel so people can see it. It is very frustrating. What are you going to do? As always, science is on the website. Keepitvegan.com. You can head to Patreon, buy me a beer. That'd be pretty cool. And I've got another video I'm working on at the moment, which will be coming up soon. And another video about bees, actually, which will be a nice one. So keep an eye out for those. And as always, save the animals, save the planet, save yourself. Go vegan.